Welcome to our production this morning. It's completely a homegrown product written by Sandy, who unfortunately can't be here today, and is going to be read by Christine. The piece is not very long, and it's called "There's a Man in the Garden with a Gun." So, Christine, over to you, away you go.
There's a man in the garden with a gun. That's the title. I was just finishing washing up after breakfast when Jack, that's my husband, came into the kitchen. There's a man in the garden with a gun, he says. Go on, I says. No, honestly, he says. Tall chap, dressed in grey. He's wearing a mask. What do you think we should do? If I'm honest, I had the urge to hide under the stairs, but I got a grip on myself. I went up from the bedroom window to have a look through the lace curtains. There he was, tall chap in grey, with one of those masks like you get if you go to a fancy dress ball in Venice. He was wearing a cowboy hat and he had a handgun in what you call a holster. Well, he didn't look like a terrorist or a criminal. So when he knocked at the door, very politely, I thought, I dodged round our Jack and went downstairs to answer. Evening, ma'am, he says. I'm sorry to disturb you. Lovely accent he had. Raised his hat too, very gentlemanly. Yes, I says. How can I help you? Well, ma'am, he says. I'm looking for an Indian. Oh, I says, there's quite a lot round here. The loud quiller in Castle Street is very good. Or if you want something a bit more upmarket, there's Last Days of Raj next to the town hall, or there's a takeaway opposite the post office. He looked a bit at a loss for a minute or two, and then he smiled. At least I think he smiled. It's hard to tell, what with the mask and the very white teeth. No, ma'am, he says, you're mistaken me. It's a person I'm after. Oh, says Jack from behind me. Perhaps it's Dr. Bajani you want, is it? Or one of the Tell brothers at the corner shop, or Mrs. Minstry's son? Rage asked. He's home from college at the moment, I think. The man with the mask sighs. Not that kind of Indian, sir. Red Indian, member of the Comanche tribe. Long hair, feather moccasin, you know, goes by the name of Tonto. I thought for a bit. Not for long. I don't know any moccasin wearing Comanches called Tonto. I thought for a bit. I'm sorry, love, I says. I'm not come across your friend. If I see him, who should I say was asking for him? A gun-totting friend looked a bit shifty. I have no name, ma'am, he says. Jack whispers to me. It's Clint Eastwood. I ignored him. They must call you something, Pat. Think back to when you were a little lad. What did your man call you? I'd rather not say, ma'am. He starts blushing like mad. But Tonto calls me Kimo Sabi. Okay, Kimo Sabi, Jack says. If we see this Tonto, we'll give him a message. What do you want us to tell him? You could tell the bloke was beginning to get worked up. He had his gun out of the holster and his fingers were around the trigger. He didn't seem so polite now. Tell him I want my silver back, he says. Honestly, if he were a dog, he'd be growling. Right, says our Jack. And he closes the door quick. A bit rude of him, I thought. After all, the poor man has lost his money and was probably homeless in a strange land. I opened the door again and looked down the street to see if I could catch him, but he disappeared. And I was going to offer him a cup of tea. Oh, well, I thought, I went and finished the washing up.
Very good.
Made a bit of
Very
a
good.
mistake. Made a little mistake. We rubbed it out, Graham. We rubbed the
Well
mistake.
done.
Well done. Well
Well
done,
done, very
Christine.
well done, Christine. Very good.
Anybody got any comments?
I thought it was a lovely twist, and on an old story, and I like how Christine went through all the various Indians she was thinking about, like the takeaway, all that sort of stuff. Then the doctor, and then all that. I thought that was a lovely sequence there. So you did it really well, Christine, and
Yes.
hats off to Sandy as well.
Yes,
Very
for the
nicely done.
writing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not easy to write that.
You came over as a real friendly lady, that anybody that knocked on your door, you would want to make them a cup of tea. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Especially Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Good writing, well performed.
Good writing,
It
well
was.
performed, Graham. Absolutely spot on.